morning. This is Faith After Loss, and we're now in episode 6. And this episode is going to focus on finding strength in something greater than your pain. This is about what happens when grief shakes our total belief system, not necessarily religion alone, but this thing that I would consider to be spiritual resilience. Some people believe in God, some believe in the universe, some in energy, prayer, spirit, love, connection, Santa Claus, the Easter Bunny. What matters is finding something that helps hold you when grief has flattened you. It's an energy and a force that needs to hold you up when you can't and bring you some peace when you're unable to, and set you up for growth, not failure. Many people come in to our offices as therapists, and they have all kinds of different belief systems. And I'm not here to challenge it in any way, whatever you choose to call your higher power. But I am most interested in trying to help you to be mindful of whether or not it's working for you. Doesn't matter what it is, it needs to work. It needs to hold you up. Because grief will strip away everything familiar. And it can also become an invitation to ask this very profound question: what do I believe will help carry me now? You thought your visions of the future and so on and so forth were all planned out. And then something happened. Something changed it. But if you've never had a belief system, perhaps now's the time to discover what brings you some peace, some grounding, some healing, some light. And it really is important for us to be very, very mindful and intentional about these things. It might change from moment to moment, but in the long run, it will help you to walk a little steadier on a new unsteady ground. Now, many people will question their faith and their spiritual connection and where their comfort's going to come from during these painful moments. And that's not at all uncommon in grief. In fact, I ask the same question, as I'm sure many of you have or will. Where are you, God? I remember being mad at my God. Like, where were you when I needed you the most? And this became such a struggle, but yet meaningful enough in my own personal life and work that it inspired one of the children's books that I had published by the same title, Where Are You, God? I just couldn't imagine what I could have done that God would have, abandoned me in a time when I really needed some sort of comfort or stability the most. Because my grief is no different than anyone else's. It shook my heart, shook my belief system, my certainty about life, about how I thought it was, what it was going to be. It just yanked the whole thing out from underneath me. And of course, I asked the same question that I'm sure you do. Why did this happen? Why us? Why my family? Why my son? Many people say the same thing. Why me? We were all so happy. We had such a great life. Like, what happened? Like, where was God? Why would God take my kid or my husband or my mother or my dog? And again, that word God can be defined in any way that you're most comfortable. I just use the word God. because it's easier for me. Sometimes I interchange it with my higher power, but I always seem to go back to that. But I also go back to sometimes still today, and it's been a lot of years, like, why wasn't my prayer answered? Well, faith does get disrupted. And the fact is we have to normalize our anger, our numbness, our spiritual disconnect, our confusion. We have to find what's normal about it now. And if you're questioning your faith, okay, that doesn't mean that you failed at anything. That doesn't mean that you're suddenly a non-believer. It just means that you're uncertain about, where was it when I needed it the most? So, I mean, that's something that I think we all struggle with in our own way and to different degrees, of course. But, we all have to get around to realizing that what helps you, what's carrying you personally through this journey of trying to normalize things, trying to figure out what's next, where do you fit in all of it? How can it possibly manifest? Because there's certain key people, places, and things missing from it. It's just, we've got to be aware that there is something that's helping to carry us, whether we want to acknowledge it or not. And could it be our God, our higher power, the universe? Is it our prayer? Is it our strong spirit, nature, the energy in the room, the stillness in the room, love in our heart, hope that we'll always carry? But what is it that's helping you to figure this out, to know that you do have a future? What is it? I mean, it's good to be able to identify it. I know when I asked myself the personal question of, where were you, God? And where are you now? I had to straighten myself out because, I was looking for something, someone to blame for the loss of a child, especially to drugs. But, the one thing that I realized when I started to heal a little bit and there was a little bit more time under my belt that, how was I walking this walk? I mean, it wasn't because I knew how to do it, because I didn't. I was at a loss, but I was being carried. And then I thought, you know what? Maybe this is my faith, that I will have what I need when I need it, not when it becomes a heady thing and I'm trying to figure it out. Okay. But when I need it, it's here for me. And there certainly was enough evidence of that, because I couldn't figure out how I was going to get up and pull off the next day or the next holiday or the next birthday or the next Mother's Day or whatever it was. No, I couldn't figure that out. I was drawing a big blank. And every time I would draw a blank, I would just be more frightened. So the one thing that I realized is that faith, my faith, is here for me, and so is yours. Okay, but you might not be able to identify it clearly in the moment. It could be kind of messy. It could be kind of hit and miss. It could feel broken, uncertain. You can be exhausted by it, trying to figure it out. Like, where is it? Where are you? How are you helping me? Why did you abandon me? And healing doesn't require perfect beliefs. Sometimes it's really important to simply be willing to consider that there might be something that's helping me, that's carrying me. Just to be willing to keep your heart open, your mind open to that possibility. And I think that that's a personal choice. We have to decide as adults, where do we want to go with this? And if you're willing to accept the fact that you do get what you need when you need it, it might not come in the form in which you're asking, but it is here. And so I think that, we need to just acknowledge that because it's the gift we've been given. When we lose someone, we lose a part of ourselves. And just learning to walk through life without them creates truly a new version of us. And that version might not have anything to do with how you just saw your life and how it was going to manifest, at some point in time. It's a whole new version. And what makes it even more complicated is it's a new version for the people around you as well. And that's what makes it sometimes even more difficult. Because as you think, you're walking with a little more grace or a little more steadiness, and then you look around and someone around you is not. Well, that could yank you back quicker than anything. So, it comes down to, who are we now and who are the people around us, the people that we spend the most time with? And you might get, upset because someone is not keeping up with your pace of healing or with the lack of. You might look around and see that everyone's a lot farther along than you are. And you might feel very angry at them and abandoned by them. But there is a deeper sense of faith that is starting to shape. Because the one thing that I learned for sure was that I don't know what's next. And I might as well just dump the whole idea that I'm going to figure it all out because I'm not. I have to have a faith in knowing that I'll be okay, whatever it is. And I think our lives certainly have proven that to us over and over again. And that like broadens our spiritual awareness. It's not about, what we can understand. It's about what we don't understand. But yet it's helpful. But yet it's here for us. But we don't get it because we can't see it. We can't, smell it. We don't know because we can't put our hands on it. But look for the evidence that says that something's walking with me. Something is greater than I am right now, stronger than I am right now, because I'm still moving forward, maybe at a snail's pace, but so what? Your grief is definitely going to change you. And, we talked in the last episode about how loss reshapes identity and how we become someone new. Faith can be part of that transformation also. Sometimes we don't return to the exact belief system that we once had, and that's okay. Sometimes grief deepens us. It could soften us. It can open us up in ways in which we never ever expected. So, our healing is not just about becoming who we were before loss. It's just about allowing ourselves to become who we are and meant to be after it. I know that's tricky because it doesn't make a lot of sense, but it is the truth. And, you really are loved and cared for. You've made it this far. Boy, if you don't need any more evidence, you sure have plenty. And if your faith is feeling kind of fragile right now, that's okay. If you're angry, that's okay. If you're questioning everything you once believed in, that's okay too. Grief has a way of stripping life down to its most honest questions. But perhaps healing doesn't require perfect answers. How about that? Perhaps it simply requires a willingness to remain open to realizing that you're being comforted, open to some sort of meaning in the moment, and even to the option of peace in the moment, and the possibility that something greater than your pain can help carry you forward because it's a fact. Sometimes when we become open in that way, we begin noticing moments that feel deeply meaningful. It might come in the form of a song, or a dream, or a feeling, or a sense of presence, or a coincidence that arrives exactly when needed. So are these signs of comfort, connection, something more? That may be where you're going to go next. Your whole belief system might start to open up to something totally different. But until then, all right, be gentle with yourself. This is Marilyn Burns, and this is Hope After Loss. Thanks for tuning in today.